We're going to keep this short and sweet. I know this was a couple weeks ago, but, I mean, at this point for me, I mean, it was, like, pretty cool. But anyway, if you don't know about the real football being in Europe, I mean, I'm not surprised. This is American football. But anyway, we're going to talk about the other football, the one in Europe. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, it's like France's best football team that is, like, isn't their national team. Anyway, though, they won the Champions League like 2 weeks ago now. I think, what was it, 5-0? That might have been like one of the worst games I've ever seen for the way Milan played. It was really bad. I just wanted to say because it's equivalent to like probably losing like 35-0 because that's how the game felt. Anyway, though, congrats to PSG, even though it's been about 2 weeks now. Anyway, though, let's get into the Colts. Yeah, Indy's an interesting place, but we got a lot of things going on right now. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the 2025 Indianapolis Colts roster grades. We'll be going through position groups and, I guess, specific positions for some instances and giving themselves a grade for each position. Again, if you haven't watched the previous three rosters that I've gone through, being the, what is it now? The freaking Titans, the Ravens, and the Seahawks, maybe something like that. You can go see that, though. The Titans one, again, the first edition of this series, will explain things in depth, but I will go through it somewhat briefly. So what it comes down to, essentially, guys, is how many points you get in the end. That's what this is right here. So the most points you can possibly get is 468. I might adjust it to 500 for next year, but that's just for next year. But 468 is the max total points you can get. And again, these are the ranges. So again, if you amass totals less than that, that's what you're gonna get. There's also ranges for sides of the ball. Again, offense does have more total points than the defense does, just because of positions and stuff. Average. The average that I set is it's not very complicated. It's 50%. Again, of the points, it's 234. So I think that's pretty fair. Either way though, every position is weighted differently. A quarterback and team identity are the things that are weighted the most. Again, there's other things there too. But again, these are the multipliers. Again, for each level. So again, when we talk about the weight, 4 points per grade. So if I gave them a B minus, that would be 7 times 4 because that's the baseline there. So and again, if you get D minus, you get the standard rate. And if you get an F, you don't get any points. So again, the Colts are really feeling like that. I mean, they could get an F, but that's all I got for this sort of thing. Again, outside of that, again, you can go watch the Titans one if you really want a full explanation of things. Again, we'll be going through a lot of different things today. And again, the biggest thing is first. So I hope you guys are ready for that. And yeah, let's get into it. Colts quarterback position. And to say the Colts have a quarterback room would be an understatement. It's definitely a group. To say the least. Again, Big Tony's going to, I guess, be their starter at the beginning of the season. He's been here for 2 years now. As a rookie, he showed some good things. One thing that I didn't like was the fact that he didn't look like Cam Newton like some people wanted to say. Big Tony, he's Cam Newton. Didn't have that same effect as a rookie. Last year, I mean, he was still really good on the ground. Like, don't get me wrong, but he still fumbled 7 freaking times. And he couldn't throw the football. I mean, guys, there's no way around it. Like, you can't complete 47.7% of your passes in the National Football League and be anything but a terrible quarterback. There's no way around it. He can't throw a football. Like, it's that simple. The numbers also aren't good. I will say, though, he's sort of gotten better with anticipation. He has probably the most talent, biggest arm in the entire league, but it really doesn't matter because, I mean, that throw he had against the Texans week 1, yeah, that's not many guys can make that throw, but he can't throw a football. So, like, it really doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what other to tell you. Like, he can sort of read defenses. He's somewhat getting better with that. But, like, the picks he had this year were inexcusable. The accuracy was awful. I mean, there's no way around it. Like, he can't throw a freaking football. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. Daniel Jones, he's not much better at throwing a football. I got to be honest with you. I will say I think it was definitely an improvement from what we saw in 2023 overall. I got to put it out there. He was atrocious. 2024 still was pretty bad. But, like, I mean, he was better than, again, you could have maybe thought after, again, how bad he was in 2023. He's still not a very good quarterback, though. No one knows why they gave him that contract. Like, literally no one does. But yeah, he might get the start, but he's not really anything better than Anthony Richardson. Riley Leonard, he really can't throw again. You're like, oh yeah, he's got a freaking arm. So yeah, we can see how that works out. Riley Leonard, he just straight he can't throw. Like, there's no way around it. He might, yeah, very same stature as Anthony Richardson in terms of his ability to run the football, even though obviously nowhere near the same physical ability. But yeah, he can't throw a football for the save his life. Then we got Jason Bean. If this even loads, I'd be. Oh, I guess it is loading. Jason Bean out of Kansas. He didn't even start for Kansas, did he? Oh, I think he might have. Sports reference. Yeah, this is where we're going to go with this. All right. Jason Bean. Let's see what this takes us to. There we go. I think he got too bad. I'm going to get off this. And then we're going to go to this. All right. Jason Bean. Yeah, 2023. I'm very confused. Yeah, he beat freaking Oklahoma that year. He didn't play last year, though. I'm very confused. I do remember him. He wasn't very good. So, yeah, he might not even make the roster. So, putting it short and sweet for this quarterback position for the Colts, it's one of the worst in the league. It's a D. I truly don't think Anthony Richardson can throw a football. And the fact that Daniel Jones is just really not that good either. Nothing more than an okay backup. And, you can't expect Anthony Richardson to be good this year. He was that bad last year. I mean, maybe something amounts, but this offense will not function well again if you can't learn how to throw a goddamn football and hit a guy in the chest. 10 points, though, for quarterback. Yeah, big dud. Let's get to running back, which should be a lot freaking better. All right, now we are on to the skill position for the Colts. Again, their lead player on this entire offense by far is Jonathan Taylor, who, again, is going to be talked about a lot about the fact that he had that fumble. His only 3. Okay, so his biggest play of the season was the one where he kind of fumbled their season away against the Broncos in Week 15. But again, you got to realize he was on a touchdown on that run, so I guess there's good to that. Okay, I'm not trying to overshadow it. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best backs in the football. He is a true workhorse as well. Yes, the injuries in 2023 and then coming back in 2022, coming back in 2023 and still dealing with some of the things, but still being a pretty solid back is good. But last year he was a workhorse back. He was most of this entire offense, and he is one of the best backs in football. Yeah, as a receiver, he's not the most, again, mobile like that or that versatile, but it really doesn't matter because he's one of the best backs in football. Khalil Herbert, he's kind of weird because I really hasn't gotten like a true opportunity since, well, what are we going to say, 2022? Yeah, I'd probably say that. He was good that year. In 2023, honestly, guys, last year I was kind of, or 2023, I was pretty underwhelmed with how he played. He still was pretty productive, but not. I think he was better in 2022. Last year, kind of bounced around a couple teams and really didn't do too much. Again, he's never really been the biggest receiver either, but I think that'll be part of his profile this year because they don't want Jonathan Taylor out there as a receiver every single down, despite he's somewhat capable. Not great though. TJ Giddens is an interesting guy as well. Out of Kansas State, he's got some burst. I really like his ability to cut in the hole, which will be interesting to see, but maybe he can battle for backup spot. I'd probably say no. And Tyler Goodson, I mean, he's basically a special teamer at this point. He kind of coughed up their season a couple years ago, so that's great. Anyway, though, I'm going to say they get an A for running back. It's definitely a little bit clouded by the fact that, again, they don't really, again, Khalil Herbert's okay, but there are definitely better backups in the league. But again, with Jonathan Taylor being the guy he is, I think this is definitely one of the best, a pretty solid running back room overall. Again, the backups, again, could be better, but again, it's probably around an average group. So, I don't know. Maybe if they have, like, I don't even know who, like, freaking maybe Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins as a backup, that could lead me to an A+, but I probably wouldn't even say that because, I mean, Jonathan Taylor's just, again, there's really only 2 or 3 backs that ever get an A+, and Jonathan Taylor isn't one of them, sadly, but yeah, that's kind of how it is. He's still one of the best backs in the league for sure, though, so give him the A. Maybe if it was a couple years ago, it would be an A+, but A+ really doesn't make a difference too much there. That's 9, 18, 27, and that's, 33 points maybe? Now on to wide receiver. Again, really, this is kind of a disappointing year for Michael Pittman Jr. Again, really just because him and, what's his name? The freaking Joe Schmo, Big Tony, they really didn't get too much going. Joe Flacco, not really much either. He had his worst year since, I don't even know when. Let's probably say his rookie season. He was kind of a bust in 2020, to be honest with you guys. Last year, though, he really didn't get open that much. I did like his ability a little bit more, though, because he became a little bit more of a downfield threat, which he kind of just fell away from, again, since 2021. Again, I just don't think he was the same player last year, though, to be honest with you guys. I really see him, separate a little bit better this year. Again, I think there's just a down year overall. Again, is he really a number 1 receiver right now? I don't really know, but I think he's definitely a guy who he's definitely proven, so we'll see if he can bounce back. Alec Pierce led the NFL in yards per catch at 22.3. That's absolutely insane. The numbers speak for themselves. Again, he wasn't very consistent, but the fact he's, again, a deep threat for this team is kind of what they need him to be. I mean, I don't think he'll really be, again, 37 catches isn't that, again, valuable for you. And the catch percentage isn't, like, sought after either. So, again, if you're Alec Pierce, you're probably going to look to have a little bit more of a consistency and maybe a little bit more production overall. But again, as their deep threat, he's going to be a very good player for them. Josh Downs in the slot, probably their only reliable guy right now, to be honest with you. He's going to get separation. He's going to be really good underneath. And I wouldn't be surprised if he even turned into a guy that they might actually try to move outside, even though, again, he is definitely their slot guy. But it is good to know they have, again, at the very least, 3 guys that could, I mean, Alec Pierce being the least reliable of the 2, that's just not where we want to be. We'll be to that later. More like the predictions season for that. But anyway, it's good to know that they have 3 receivers at the very least that are wide receiver 2s. Again, Alec Pierce being a little lower end of that just because, again, he's not really as reliable. But again, him and Michael, I just got to see Michael Pittman be the same guy he was 2 years ago, and I can say he's the number 1 guy. But again, Josh Downs at the very least is a guy who will be one of the better slots in the league. Adonai Mitchell had a terrible rookie season. I hope he can bounce back, but like it was just not good. Ashton Doolin, again, he's got some decent yak ability. We'll see how that works. Anthony Gold really didn't do much as a rookie. Laquan Treadwell, I don't know how he's still in the league, and then the rest of the guys are either not going to be on this roster or might carve out a special teams role. But with that said, again, even though Anthony Gold hasn't really done too much yet, I'd probably say they have a pretty good top 6. They got good depth receiver overall. I'll probably give them a B. I just don't think they have any true number 1s right now just because of how Michael Pittman played last year. And again, they got 3 guys that are all like solid players, which is really good to see. So that's 9, 18, what is that, 24 points? Again, maybe just question again if Alec Pierce can be the same, efficiency that are on those plays. Anyway, though, tight end, it's definitely a much better position than it was in terms of the outlook here. I don't know what happened to Kylan Granson, to be honest with you guys. Well, where did Kylan Granson go? I mean, he wasn't good, but where did he go? He's now on the Eagles. I think I remember. Whatever. Who cares? All right. Jelani Woods, he had that one big game against the Chiefs, like back in 2022. Really hasn't been the same player since, or even close to that. Drew Ogletree, I do like, but at the same time, he hasn't really been productive yet. Mo Cox has been in this team since who the hell knows when. I think it's been like since 2017. 2018. Jesus, he's been around a while. Never has really been a true receiving option, though. That's why they did draft Tyler Warren, who I am worried about as him being a guy that will be expected to block a lot. And he's just not a very good blocker right now, to be completely honest with you guys. But as a receiver, also a little bit weird. But again, he's probably the most versatile and unique tight end in the entire NFL, so that'll be very good to see there. But overall, he's still a guy that there's questions about, and I need to see him being that true blocker for that. Again, a good, decent blocker, so that, again, he can be a guy who will be effective on every single down. And won't be a guy like, I don't know, maybe Brock Bowers, even sometimes last year, where you're like, yeah, he's not going to really do much here. Again, as good as Brock Bowers was last year, there were points. Yes, he improved throughout the season in terms of his blocking, but where the running game just wasn't going anywhere, partly because he couldn't really carve anything out there. But for this tight end room, I'd probably give him a B-. I'm not... Okay, Mo Cox is a backup. He works. It's a backup. He's a good backup. That's probably what I should have said the first time. Jelani Woods and Drew Ogletree, they could probably carve out some sort of productive role. But again, Tyler Warren is a starter. I'm pretty confident in them. I don't know if he's going to really be worth a B-. I'll say they get this because their tight end depth is... There's experience here, which I think is the biggest thing. But, yeah. I think it might be a little bit nice for Tyler Warren, but again, with the depth and the fact that, again, Mo Cox, again, he's a decent backup, I think that's pretty fair to give him a B-, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it. So 6-12, what is that, 14 points? Now let's get into this offensive line before we reveal the overall offensive grade. And man, this Colts offensive line has definitely taken a little bit of a hit, to say the least, and they really haven't done too much to actually fix it. Bernard Raymond's one of the more reliable left tackles in the league. I will say I don't think last year was his best year overall, but again, he was phenomenal in 2023 and a very impressive rookie season as well. Yeah, he's one of the more reliable guys there. Blake Freeland's a very okay backup. He kind of got exposed when Bernard Raymond got hurt there, but I do think his athleticism and his ability to I don't even say get off the line, but just his ability to not really get beat around the edge is something that I do like a lot. But again, overall, he does get overpowered a little bit. Quentin Nelson, again, even though he's probably not the same player we saw back in, again, 2018, even 2019, probably even 2020. Again, he had like 2022, where he kind of wasn't very good. And then last year, 2023, he was solid. Last year, I was probably saying a little bit better. So he might not be a truly elite guard, but he's still a very, very good player at the very end of the day. Josh Sills, I mean, you can give people a lot of different opinions on him, but he's okay. Danny Pinter is kind of just a jack-of-all-trades sort of center there. Tanner Bortoloni is questioning as a starting center because he struggled mightily once Ryan Kelly got injured there. But at the same time, I do like his play style, and I think that does translate somewhat well going into this year. Matt Gunkowski, I actually think, did do a decent job, despite, not really being a proven guy. There at right guard, they kind of had, again, Will Fries obviously had a very good 2023, and last year, again, many people were like, well, why the hell is this guy getting in there? Again, even though you could have saw Will Fries come back. But yeah, I think he's definitely have to step up because I don't think he's going to be, again, he's not even close to the same player Will Fries was in 2023. But he definitely can do it. Braden Smith, he's old. He's not really as good as I'd honestly say. Again, he's had some injury things, but he's been the right tackle since 2018. I'm not really, or maybe 2017 now. I think it was 2018, but he's a very good right tackle, and you're definitely going to want him there. And one of the more valuable guys in the league there. The rest, again, the rest of the back was Wesley French fries thing there, but that's about it there. Again, outside of some preseason experience, those guys, I really don't have too much to go off of with them. Again, looking at this offensive line overall, you got 3 guys that are true starters, again, if not elite players in some ways. And then you got 2 guys that are kind of question marks with questionable depth as well. Again, also Dalton Tunner and Jalen Travis. We'll see how they turn out. But overall, looking at this offensive line, I'll probably still give them a B. That might be a little bit nice because, Braden Smith, what is he now, 32? Yeah, he's only 29. What am I talking about? I was Ryan Kelly. But I'm just concerned because Matt Bartoloni and Tanner Bartoloni and Matt Goncalves, neither of them are very proven. I think I'll give them a B- at offensive line. I'm a little bit wary of how that's going to work out. But again, the rest of the offensive line is really solid. So again, if they still had Will Fries and I don't know, because there's just 2 holes there that I'm not too certain on. So this might be a little bit mean, but I think I'll be fair again. If they had 2 guys, I'm like, yeah, they're going to be good. I'd probably give them a B- B- probably would have. They're definitely in the a B-ish tier, though. So it's going to be, 14 points as well. And when we rounded this out to the overall offensive grade, it's not going to really be pretty, to be honest with you. It was at 10 plus 33 plus 24, 14 plus 14. 95 points, so a little bit of a dud. That's going to put us in the C-plus tier. I think the C-plus tier is fair. The biggest issue with this offense is that, yes, they have a pretty strong skill group overall. The offensive line is going to be, I think, decent. Again, just those 2 holes in the O-line. Again, those guys will be good. We'll see. Again, they just don't have a quarterback that's going to function in this offense. And it's pretty simple. That's not going to take them very far. So, yeah, that's why they're a C-plus instead of being a really solid, consistent offense, which I don't think they will be this year. But we'll see how that works out for them. Let's get in this defense. Getting it started with the front 7 here. Again, this narrative for the Colts defense, I'll probably dive into a little bit more when we get into the identity of this team. But, again, it hasn't been a group that has been, truly strong since I'd probably say 2020, again, the last time they really did anything in the playoffs. Or not even, the last time they made the playoffs. So that's good to mention there. But either way, let's get this started with the defensive line. I guess we'll just kind of incorporate the pass rush with this, but because this is the first 4-3 we're covering this year. Kwity Paye, he is not a reliable, consistent pass rusher. He's going to starter here in the league. That's kind of how it's going to be for you. And again, he's definitely a solid player. He's gonna be a really good run blocker. Yeah, he had 8 run defender. That's what's gonna keep him starting for sure. He's just not really that effective of a pass rusher. He'll get average production for you. But that's just the biggest narrative. He's not that great as a pass rusher, and it's not great. JT Tuimoloau does add a little bit more power than Kwity Paye, but at the same time, I still don't think the finesse development moves are really to the measure where you might want to start him, because Kwity Paye, honestly, he's going to be more efficient than JT Tuimoloau as a rookie. But until, again, maybe when he develops a little bit more, because I think he definitely has more juice than Kwity Paye right now as a power rusher. But again, Kwity Paye uses power to speed. And again, JT Tuimoloau, again, until those moves, again, you can't just start him right now because the ceiling for his moves aren't really, it's not really worth it. So again, maybe he develops those in camp and really works on it. Again, if he can really get that going, start him over Kwity Paye. But until that happens, I don't really know about it. You got to start Laiatu Latu. He's your best option as a pass rusher. He kind of had a very disappointing rookie season though, because he just could not handle himself against the run, as I did expect. But yeah, as pass rusher, a lot of good flashes, and I think that's going to really help him out. But at the same time, again, in terms of his power moves, he kind of had his games there where he didn't really do too much. Samson Ebukam is their best player on this entire defense, in my opinion, in terms of consistent. And I'm joking. He's their best edge rusher for sure. I would even go to the extent he's a true number 1 edge rusher. Don't know if that's really what people think, especially after a season where he tore his ACL. But in 2023, he was freaking legit. I didn't even argue in 2022 with the pressure numbers he was, but 2023 he was a true number 1 edge rusher, especially with the way what the film said. So very, very underrated player. He's definitely not an elite player, but in terms of a really solid number 1 guy off the edge, he's your guy. But again, coming off the injury, don't know if we'll really see that. Tyquan Lewis is a decent and reliable guy. Kind of disappointing though, because he got some really good opportunities last year, didn't do too much. But again, in terms of a rotational role, he will be a quality player. And Isaiah Land, who cares? So they got a very deep group. But the fact you're going to rely on Samson Ebukam to really come back and be that guy that he was in 2023 is a little bit of an issue. And I don't even know if he'll be ready for the start of training camp. I'd say yes, but who knows? Their defensive tackle duo is still one of the best in the league. DeForest Buckner, as you guys all know, is one of the most consistent players in all of football. The pressure numbers are almost identical every year. The film is maybe a little bit worse than what we saw in 2023, but certainly better than what we saw in 2022, where I wouldn't even call that a down year. He was still really good, but yeah. 2023, I think, was his best year since that 2019 season, though. No, I think already 2020. You guys, he's been a great football player for, what is it now, 10 years now? Something like that? Maybe not 10 years. Yeah, 10 years now. He's a great player. There's no way around it. One of the better defensive tackles in the league. Model consistency. Grover Stewart, again, while he is still a very valuable interior pass rusher, he's going to get pressure. He's going to move the pocket. He is one of the best run defending defensive tackles in football. Not even close. He sheds blocks almost as good as a guy like Derrick Brown, and he just moves entire gaps. It's really freaking cool. Yeah, he's great. Him and DeForest Buckner, bread and butter there. I cannot pronounce this guy's name. They were Bauer. I think it was 2022 draft they got him in. No, 2023. The people thought he was a steal. He hasn't done anything. It's not really his fault. Again, he's got two guys that are just way better than him. But as a depth piece, I think he's done okay. He just hasn't really played much, so I don't really know what to go off with him too much. But again, the fact that he's not getting on the field, they don't really. Again, they got two really, really good starters. So kind of makes sense. Neville Gallimore, straight up run defender. Tim Smith has shown some flashes in his career, but really not too much. But yeah. So looking at this as a whole, their D line, I'm probably gonna give overall probably a B+. Yes, the edge rushers overall, again, if Samson Ebukam was healthy, you're probably looking at like a solid B for their pass rush. Kwity Paye is an average to decent number 2 edge rusher. Overall, Leatu Latu does provide that pass rush. Again, J.T. Tuamal, Tyquan Lewis are both very good depth pieces as well. But the interior is really good, so I think a B+ is fair. You could, again, if Samson Ebukam was even better than this, or Kwity Paye, again, if Leatu Latu took a huge step, there's definitely a lot of potential off the edge with this group, but I can't really give them a lot here. So B+ for this D-line, that's going to come out to what? 6, 12, 18 points. And for this pass rush, I'm going to give them a B because as good as the interior will be, Grover Stewart still isn't a guy you're going to be like, yeah, he's going to freaking move. He's going to move mountains in the interior. Again, he does do that, but as a true pass rusher, I think he is a little bit helped out the fact, again, DeForest Buckner is one of the better defensive tackles in the league. So, yes, those two will do a lot of damage, but off the edge, you can't count on Sam. Again, questionable. Samson Ebukam is your number 1 guy, and even then, Leatu Latu a lot of potential with this group, but I probably have to give them a B because I don't think it's as surefire as this overall defensive line. So, that's 12, 24, what is that? 32 points. And then again, we look at this linebacker position, which again is headed by Zaire Franklin, who has been one of the more consistent players in all football since he took over for Anthony Walker back in 2022. He is a tackling machine. That isn't always a great thing, though. I'll be honest with you. Again, he's been one of the top tacklers the past 3 years. Like I said, he didn't really play too much in 2021, but again, took over. And he's been, like I said, one of the better run defenders overall in the league. I'd like to compare him to Jordan Brooks, again, when he had that big season in terms of tackles back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't really think that's fair. I think the best way to compare him is he's just a guy who will be He'll be consistent in coverage. You're not going to really ask too much of him, but he's going to be okay, and he's just going to be a really good run defender. Again, one of the very consistent linebacker there. Second, Olubi Segun, very versatile. I really like his technique overall, getting coverage as well. He's just got a very good approach. But the fact, and he just hasn't really played too much, kind of holds him back. But he's got athleticism. I think they're going to give him a really good run here because he's definitely the second best linebacker overall in this group. And you got Jalen Carley. I don't even pronounce his name. He got a really good run last year as a rookie, and I thought he did do a decent job. I just don't think he has, again, kind of the coverage ability to really be, again, counted on there. But again, for a guy like a will linebacker that's been asked to make a lot of plays, I think he can definitely do it. Cameron Gunn got benched. He was kind of ineffective last year. Joe Bachi, former Bengals, more of a special teamer now. Jacob Phillips and Liam Anderson are both questionable as well. But overall, for this linebacking core, I'll probably have to give them a C+. Because, yes, Zaire Franklin is a really solid player, but he's not a superstar. He just isn't. It's just kind of like that. And then you got 2 guys that I think are definitely questionable as well. I think they'll be decent players, but the fact they don't really have too much depth is also an issue. But 12 points. No, that's cornerback. What am I doing here? Casual moment there. That's going to be 18 points for the linebacking core. Now let's look at the secondary. This has been a Colts secondary for a while now that has not been the greatest, but they made some big acquisitions to try to make it better. Jalen Jones as a second-year player, I thought did a very decent job. I think early in the season he had a lot more success in coverage. And then he just got targeted the crap ton after that, and he just wasn't as good. But at the same time, he had 100 tackles for a corner. That's not always really ever a good sign. And yeah, he did get beat a lot in man coverage when he was put on an island last year. They asked him to do a lot of it. Didn't really work out too well for him. But also, I don't think the Colts CC did a great job with him as well. But still, overall, kind of a mixed bag of a true starting season. But I think he's still a talented player. Could definitely have a better season this year. Juju Brents was injured all of last year, so I really don't know what to go off of him with him. He had a pretty impressive rookie year for getting the expectations in 2023. But if this guy can't stand the field, I really can't tell you that he's a reliable player at all. Travarius Ward, was not that good last year with the Niners, to be completely honest with you guys. I think he had one of the higher ratings giving up. But even on film, he wasn't the same player as he was in the 2023 season. Again, his best year by far in his career was 2022, though. He was phenomenal that year. He's never really been a guy that you've been like big on. Again, interceptions, going to get a lot in 2023, but also got targeted a lot. But that's besides the point. Travaris Ward is looking to have a little bit more of a bounce back year. Still wasn't horrible, but again, wasn't the same player. Kenny Moore is one of the more reliable slots in the league. He's been their slot for a really long time now. What are we going to say? Since 2017, Jesus. But again, hasn't really eclipsed that 2021 season where I think he was definitely the best slot in football. But he's still been a very reliable player, again, up and down in terms of the stats. Or coverage stats the past couple of years, but on film, he's basically the same player. You know what you're getting out of him. He's going to be a really quality player there. Justin Wally, again, the Minnesota man, I really think that he could be a good option as, again, kind of a boundary guy, and a guy you could see on the field a little bit more than maybe a guy like Corey Ballantyne, who's definitely more of a slot guy. Again, you saw him with the Packers have some success. So we'll see how that works out. You got David Long Jr., again, former Ram. He's got good instincts, but that's basically about it. Samuel Womack is just not very good, and they got Alex Johnson, who could carve out a special teams role. But overall, for this cornerback room, I think it's a lot more, I won't even say hopeful, just deep overall. You still have some questions, but I'd probably give them a B-. I just don't think, and Charvarius Ward's obviously very, very good, but he's just not coming off the greatest season, so I'm going to say a B-. You could definitely give him a B, but Jalen Jones, I don't think really has proven himself as a true number 2 corner yet, so I got to say that as well. But I think B- is fair this cornerback room. That's going to be 6, 12, and 14 points. Now we look at the safety position. So, Nick Cross is just not that good. The good thing about him, though, is he's not going to be a guy you're going to see, be completely burned in coverage. That's the thing about him. Yes, 2023, he had his moments, but last year, very, very reliable as an underneath sort of box guy, and he never really got out of position. But the biggest issue was he's just not really the fastest, and in man coverage, he is just not very good. I don't think he'll really last honestly, that most of the season as a starter because there's just better guys behind him. But he's a guy who will make plays. He doesn't miss too many tackles. He's kind of like a safe option despite being a little bit of a liability in coverage. Cam Bynum, while it wasn't the 2023 season we saw, he is a very good safety. Very good. He was atrocious in 2021. I cannot describe how bad he was. But 2022, better season. 2023 was his best season. Last year still, honestly, you could even argue better in coverage. A little bit step back. But Cam Bynum's a very good safety. I wish the Rams had him, to be honest with you guys. I think I have a lot more respect than I had in 2021 for sure. Because I'm telling you guys, there were games where I'm like, holy crap, this guy's just lost out there. But anyway, he's a very good player. Rodney Thomas, he got got his job taken, but that's for good reason. He was one of the worst starters in the league last year. Daniel Scott has a lot of potential, a lot of talent, but he just really has played a snap. I don't think he's played a snap in the league yet because he was drafted in 2022. Maybe it was 2023. This is just not loading. It's so geeked, bro. I think it was 2023 when he was drafted. Now that I think about it. Yeah, there we go. Because he hasn't played a snap in the league yet. He's 26 now, but he's a very talented player. We'll see how it works out. Hunter Wohler, I liked him again in terms of his prospect evaluation. You can go see that. He might have been he was not an honorable mention. You can go watch safety prospect rankings. That's in the 2025 NFL draft playlist. But yeah, Hunter Wohler, I like some of his abilities, but overall, again, he's still a limited guy in coverage. But again, being a bigger guy, you could definitely see him start. But again, I think you could argue it's definitely a 3-way competition here for them. It's strong safety, but overall, I'll probably give them a B- to safety because Cam Bynum's definitely a solid player. They got good depth, is good as well, but I don't really think they have a true option as a starting strong safety. But yeah, Nick Cross I think will be at least decent for them. So that's what is that? 9, 18, 21 points for them there. And now we look at this overall. No, I'll give them a C+. I might actually have to because Cam Bynum's good, but they just don't really have a true starting strong safety. I'm just not that big into Nick Cross. I'll give them a C+. I'm still not sold on that, so we're gonna say that gets 18. And now we look at it. For the Colts, there's a 18 plus 18 plus 32 plus 14 plus 18. That's 100 points for this defense. That's going to put them at a solid C+. I think that's fair. Now, again, we'll talk more about this even in a second. In terms of their actual logistics, their roster pretty solid. But, yeah, we got some other stuff to talk about. Before we get the identity of this team, which I'll definitely get into a lot. All right, looking at the special team situation for the Colts, it's been a little bit of a shaky issue ever since Vinatieri hasn't been good. But last year, I don't even know what. I'm very confused. He hasn't really gotten a shot at the start as his first true year. He is not a guy you're going to really see drilling a bunch of long field goals. But at Notre Dame, I mean, I'm not really the biggest fan, to be honest with you guys. But Yeah, Spencer's an interesting player for sure, but he's definitely not a proven kicker, but he's pretty accurate overall. Roberto Sanchez is a great punter. He's got a great story as well. I definitely recommend going look at that. Anthony Gold's a solid returner. Luke Rhodes, I don't even know if he's good long term. I'm probably saying not because there was that one play. But anyway, this special team unit overall has had their issues in the past, but I think overall I'll probably give them I don't know, probably a D plus to be honest with you guys with the unproven kicker. No, not there. That's not good. All right, no, we'll see how that ends there. 3 points. All right, depth of the Colts. Quarterback depth, I'd probably give a C+. Daniel Jones, I really don't like him, but I mean, as a backup, he's decent. Running back depth, probably a C overall, so we're probably saying a C+ at this point. Wide receiver depth, I think it's actually really solid. I'll give that a B. So if we're going to say a B here, we're probably at a C+. C+, tight end depth, I'd probably give a B as well. Definitely a B- at that point. O-line depth, probably a C-, so we're probably back to a C+. D-line depth is really good. I'll probably say that's a A-, or probably up to a B now. So if we're saying a B there, linebacker depth, I'd probably give it a D. So we're probably going back down to a C+. C+, overall secondary depth. What am I thinking? I'm probably write this down here. Cornerback depth, I'd probably give a B-. So I think we're probably at a B- still. Safety depth is pretty solid. I give that a B. So honestly, we're probably up to a B. So overall for this team, I think, yeah, a B is fair for their depth. So that's 12, 24, 32 points. All right, Colts identity. Offensively, I think it's very clear they're going to be running the ball a little more than they did last year. Or they didn't even run the ball that much last year. And Joe Flacco's pretty simple. This offense is not going to be that effective unless they have some sort of quarterback that can not only read the field but actually throw a goddamn football. They got to get the ball to Michael Pittman a lot better. Again, they got to develop chemistry in the offseason. Pretty simple. That's the only way that a guy like Michael Pittman, who again is a big part of this offense, actually gets things going. I think, again, it's also the O-line. They have two guys that are really unproven and seeing if they can actually be good. Again, a lot of things hinging there, but overall, again, with Shane Steichen, I mean, maybe he's probably on the hot seat, to be honest with you guys. They got some work to do this year. Defensively, they have, honestly, like I said, really haven't had a good season since 2020. This is a team that hasn't won a playoff game since 2019. And more importantly, this defense statistically sucks every freaking year. Kind of simple there. They've got good players. I think overall it's a solid makeup for this defense. But unless this secondary is able to step up and not have guys like Nick Cross have games that are just not good, and overall I think it just schematically is a flawed defense. Because they don't have terrible players. Unless that changes, this is a group they're just not going to be very good defensively. They're just kind of be a freaking donut. And if that does happen, this is never really been a truly dominant or like effective defense. And if that doesn't happen, this team's just going to again be mediocre as they've been really every year. I mean, outside of one, they're just trash, but mediocre as they've been since 2019. So overall for this Colts defense, I don't know if that's really going to change. And I think it's definitely a questionable thing to talk about, especially with the coaching staff issues. I'm going to say they got a C-, but at the same time, again, they've lost their owner. Again, that was kind of like think, what are they going to be like? I really don't know. But I think there's like at some point you got guys like that's simple. There's talented players in this roster. Everyone knows that. It's that this team is not going to bum. They can definitely bottom out. But again, the quarterback position is definitely an issue. I'm gonna say get a C-. No, I'm gonna give them D+. I don't really know what position this team's gonna go in. I think that's definitely an issue for them. So we'll see how it works out. But with that said, let's see what this overall roster grade turns out to be. All right, all in all, let's see what this Colts overall roster grade is. I'm going to actually, first time we're doing this series, we're going to calculate it right here. So we got 95 plus 100 plus 3 plus 32 plus 15. That's going to come out to 245 points, which is just not good. There's no way around it. We're going to get down a little bit. But, Jesus, that's what we like. 245 points, that's going to put them in the C+ tier, which low-key I think is where they belong. This is a solid roster overall. But the biggest issue, it's pretty simple with this. They don't have an identity. Like, that's really what it is. Because it's a defense that statistically and really just always is one of the worst in the league. Not that they're actually a bad defense. I just don't, again, it's kind of how they are. Just not an effective group, and that's kind of what it comes down to. And offensively, they don't have a quarterback to throw the football. And it's just not going to work for you. So, Colts fans, I'd be a little bit wary on that, but at the same time, you got a coach who's trying to save his job, so we'll see how that turns out for you. But C+, 245 total points. We'll see how that stacks up against the rest of the league as we continue to go through this. But that's all I got for the Colts, and yeah, that's about it.
Garoppolo has time, stands in, going deep, going for it. Oh, and it's caught for the touchdown! On 4th down, Deebo Samuel for 6.
And we're going after it in a big way because remember, this is 4th and 2. So if you're a defensive back, you're sitting on shorter routes here. Instead, the 49ers push it, and Deebo Samuel finds the football. Marcus Peters does not. And he gets past Brandon Carr, who lets the receiver past him.